Welcome to Athletes, Entrepreneurs, the Alumni Journey. I'm Rob Finkelstein, founder and CEO of Alumni Direct, where we've created a platform to help athletes and other alumni network and connect with each other and tap into various resources in career and health and financial literacy. But more importantly, this show is all about athletes transitioning out of sport. It's such a major issue today. And we look to address it we interview former college professional athletes, talk about their journey, their transition out of sports, ultimately into successful business leadership and entrepreneurship. So excited today to have Channing Frye. How you doing, Channing?
Good, man. Good. Just fighting these allergies.
Yeah, he told me offline. He's got some allergies, but you're going to battle through, man. That's what athletes do. He's playing hurt in the NBA. Right? No, exactly. You're playing hurt in the NFL. Channing's playing hurt in the NBA. So Channing played college basketball at Arizona, and then he got drafted by the Knicks, had a good professional career, won a championship in Cleveland. And spent quite a bit of time in Phoenix. And when he got done with that, he got into NBA TV, and he's got a podcast, and it's called Road Tripping, right?
Yep.
Got that right. Definitely got to check it out. He was telling, so he's a pro at this stuff. He's going to school me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Teach me how to do
just a little bit.
So everything going good?
Everything's going great, man. Like, life is good. Just here with kids and family for the holidays. Basketball season's underway. Wine season's kind of slowing down, so it's awesome but interesting.
Yeah, that's great. That's the last thing I forgot to mention. He's the founder and president of Chosen Family Wines, which he told me a little bit before about it. I'm excited to hear more about it, and I'm sure you will be as well. So, Channing, talk about playing sports growing up. How did that shape you leading up into college?
I mean, basically, it was everything that I am. Being for reference, I was 6'2" in sixth grade, right? You don't really fit in. So my parents were always telling me, hey, like you're going to have to live your life in a fishbowl. You act up, they're going to see you first. If you're not in front of the class, they're going to notice that more than other kids. Whether that was the truth or not, I just, I took it as truth. My dad would always say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And they just continue to push me in the right direction. And then, one day it clicked. It clicked in high school. I went from basically being unknown to Gatorade Player of the Year, getting an opportunity to go play at the University of Arizona. But sports taught me that life and sports are two very different universes. And what happens on the sports field doesn't necessarily reflect of who you are on a in real world. And so for me, I got to create a persona. I got to be a different person, got to be a little bit more angry and aggressive, in my own little way. But then when I was outside the court, it was just, let's just enjoy life,
That's great. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's not it's funny because you do see that a lot in sports. I mean, all of a sudden, you see these guys that seem to be pretty chilled, and they get on the field and they're like warriors out there, and it's just it's a total different mindset.
Yeah, I just think if you are sacrificing and putting in the hours, the intensity should be there. Like, I'm a nice guy. Like, I didn't get in very many fights in the NBA. I'm not an enforcer or anything like that. But the ability to compete, I didn't want to come back home and think, man, I left something on the table. Or I could always think, could I get better? It's very different than, oh man, I didn't give it my best, right? They're two very different things. And if you want to be a pro for 14 years like I was, it's never over until it is, And the minute that you don't have that kind of click in your mind of, man, I could give more, I could do more, and I want to do more. And like, yeah, I won, I want to win again. If that's not your motor, if that's not your attitude, you're not going to be very successful at really anything. You're just gonna float,
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's talk about when you were in Arizona, was there any type of education on transitioning out of sports? Ultimately, when you're done, whether it's college, professional, and not just like a 1-day thing, but like workshops or a mandatory class.
Man, I wouldn't say a mandatory class. There are workshops and things. And then honestly, at Arizona, it's like one of the best, if not the best college in the world. The players were already McDonald's All-Americans and things like that. So you were getting that from your teams. Guys were going to the NBA after a year or 2 years. But, even our walk-ons, they were taking this opportunity to like Jason Rainey, I think used to work for, it's like one of the higher up at Wasserman Agency. He was our walk on, but now he's still within basketball. You look at some of our other players are now NBA coaches. Our managers are now head of other businesses when it comes to sports. So I don't think anyone was lacking on the information of how to be successful. The only people that were lacking were the people that weren't paying attention.
Right.
And they could be really good players or not really good players. It's just a matter of what interested you at the time.
Yeah, it's and a lot of times, like you hit it on the head. I think it's just whether people pay attention to it. A lot of athletes have the nose to the grindstone, understandably, but I think there needs to be, especially education on the other side of when they are done. Something we talk about. We've talked about going to different schools with the resource partners and talking about, okay, here's some curriculum for your current athletes, but then here's something that when the athletes are done, they retire, they can kind of come back. And even we talk about, like, from a recruiting perspective, is that as a parent of an incoming athlete, if you're looking at 4 or 5 schools and you know that that one school is going to pay a little more attention, not only to your child when they're there, but also when they're done, I think it makes an impact.
Yeah, that I think that, and I agree with you. I think one thing about that is like, how many of these kids stay at a school for 2, 3, 4 years now? It just
Yeah.
doesn't. So like you're asking a school to commit to someone when it's really a 1 year borrowing, right? If my son or daughter goes to, I don't know, Miami of Ohio, then they grow 4 inches. They're not going to stay at Miami of Ohio. They're going to probably go to Ohio State, right?
Right.
Or some other bigger school. Maybe they go to Toledo then they go to. So for me, I think it's the information that is necessary to be successful in business is out there. But the truth is, until you are committed to doing business the right way, it's pointless, right? Like I've been to hundreds of classes when it comes to business, and then as soon as you start your own business and want to do it the right way, there are just things you can't, you could read books about wine until you try the wine. And so I
Right.
think a lot of these kids, they think they're used to themselves individually as a business. So that's a lot different when you want to sell, coffee mugs and you
Right.
want to scale and then you get investors. What does your cap table look like? What do your margins look like? What do those P&Ls look like? But until they see that, and dive into that fully, I think it's going to be hard for a lot of guys who are still half. I could still play basketball, or I could still play
Right.
football. Like until you go, I'm done. This is my life now. It's going to be hard for them to like. It's like when you do your hands this way, one goes this way, the other one goes this way, right?
I don't know if I could do
It's
that,
hard.
man. It's a little
I know
tough.
it's hard. I tried it for a second.
It's that athlete skill set right there that's coming in.
Yeah, there we go.
So let's talk about networking, connecting, and especially the importance of doing it while you're still playing the game.
I mean, that is extremely important. I think nowadays, let's talk about even the high school level. There's alumni that go to that are diehard. Let's say you play football in Texas. That's ridiculous, right? The alumni there are going to take care of you, especially if you go to one of their schools or stay local. I mean, you look at college, and let's just assume the player is there 3, 4 years. He's a good kid, doesn't want to go to the NBA, but wants to get a job somewhere else. That school and alumni association almost needs you to be connected.
Right.
I just got put into the Hall of Fame at the University of Arizona this past Friday, and
Congratulations.
I'm still, thank you. And I'm still at 42 connecting with them. Like, who's new? Here's what I can offer as Channing or as Chosen or as Road Tripping or whatever. And what do you guys need from me other than just money? What can we do so that we can support the school, but it could also support my business, but we can all win together? And I think when you speak like that, and don't just have your hand out for, hey, give me all your
Yeah.
alumni, whatever. It makes it better for the school, and then you start to do this dance. And I think a lot of players think, well, I'm so and so, they should be coming to me. And yeah, so and so, unless you're like LeBron or Steph Curry,
Right.
these, the alumni association, you got to start taking steps towards them. You got to
Right.
start taking steps towards the school and really tapping in, whether that's a dinner. Hey, can you connect me with 5 people so I could take them to dinner? Right.
Right.
Or maybe we all take them to dinner or what, or maybe, hey, I have a suite at the Phoenix Suns game. Can you put 5, 6 people in here with me if it works out time wise? Doing those things is how you get connected, and it takes the awkwardness out of just sitting down in an office saying, hey, what's up? Now it becomes like, hey, I remember watching you as the person you're trying to connect. Hey, I've been watching you for 3, 4 years, really appreciate who you are as in a community. And then you get to talk and it's like, hey, what are you into? Oh, I own 16 car washes. I'm thinking
Right.
about opening up 4 more. Would you like to get in with me on this? Like, that's how stuff happens. But you got to
Right.
step outside yourself and take steps forward to the direction of success, in the direction of where you want to go.
Yeah, and I talk about, it's interesting. Match in high school, I always recommend in networking, connecting. You just don't know your teammates, your friends, their parents, coaches. I
Yeah.
mean, all along the way. And I think what's been a little bit interesting to me, and I bring this up on a lot of podcasts, and be great to get your perspective. Is that, do you see cross networking amongst sports? And I know part of the issue is, especially when you're in college, or even pros too, but you have the time scheduling. But when you were at school, were you kind of connecting with the other sports, the other athletes, like from football, baseball, swimming type thing?
Yeah, for sure. At U of A, because we used to be in one place called McHale Center.
Okay.
Now they have like Richard Jefferson Gym, the swimmings. Like our swimming team has 60 medalists from the Olympics, right? Our
Wow.
baseball team has, I don't know how many, champions, right? Basketball team, obviously, we're still on a text chain. And every time somebody goes to the NBA, you add that number to the text chain. So there's like 60 something people on there, right? Then you look at football, guys like Nick Foles or Rob Gronkowski or Lance Briggs or, Daryl Brooks, those kind of guys. They're so connected. It's a text away. Not even talking about our volleyball team or our gymnastics team. We were super connected with each other to where just the other day somebody was like, hey, Channing, I'm in Portland. Do you have a connect for me to get a suite at the game? I was like, yeah, sure, boom. We hadn't talked in years, but it seems like a little connect.
Right.
But then it's like, oh, hey, I didn't know you lived in Indiana. We just opened up distribution. Can I get some connects that you have there? Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Teammates, for instance, like again, Indiana is a real thing for Chosen. Um, you know, I called on Victor Oladipo, George Hill, and Jared Jeffries, and said, "Hey, can you help me? I don't know Indiana that well, but who do you know in Indiana, and like maybe at the college where you can connect me?" And I think that's important to have those relationships with teammates. You're not going to love every teammate,
Right.
but if you do the right thing, if you're respectable, then it's going to work out in the end.
Okay, and how do you see it at the professional level? Obviously, I think at the highest levels, the superstars seem to interact with each other across different sports. But you had a long career in the NBA. I mean, were you, I guess, basically in the different cities you were in, were you interacting with, again, whether it be the Major League Baseball players or the NFL players from that town?
Not really, not unless they were already friends. But yeah, like we are trains in the night most of the time.
Okay.
Um, but I do think in the off season, depending on where you live, whether that's Miami, New York, LA, Chicago, Vegas, Texas, that's where you make those connections.
Okay.
I know a lot of guys now, again, they have the same agent group and then
Okay.
they're just different branches. So like a deal will come through and I don't know, I'm just going to name, the basketball player A and the football player B have an interest in hotels. So then they connect. Hey, how much do you want to go in? How much do you want to go in? Then they both go in to bring in that star power, so they can both get more percentage on that cap table, or create a bigger raise. But those things happen all the time. A lot of guys get into business together. They just don't put their business out there.
That makes sense. I think it's I always think it's cool. Like I'll do I talk about it all the time, like the athlete DNA, the skill set, and like I'll do a podcast with not a podcast, a networking event with my podcast guests. And it's cool to just see, I might have 10, 15 people on, but I've got a swimmer, a wrestler, a handball player, NBA player, Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, like whatever it might be. But to see them all interacting, kind of rolling up the sleeve and say, okay, we all had similar experiences. We all started playing sports when we were 5, 6 years old, whatever it is, different sports. But we have that commonality of leadership and, teamwork and practicing everything else that goes with it. So to see them want to work together and help and it'd be nice to see more of that going on like across all sports.
Yeah, but you can't get in business with everybody. So,
Yeah, no, you're
knowing
right.
guys' backgrounds, knowing what they're interested in. So there's a big group of guys. I know football, basketball, baseball that are big into tech, right? Because they
Okay.
live in San Francisco. You got to think of these cities that have five sports,
Right.
right? Um, Most of those cities, you'll see a lot of interactions between baseball, basketball, football, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes hockey. But those guys who are like really into tech, they go to the tech summit,
Gotcha.
at All Star. So then that's how you do more meetings. So every All Star, there's a tech summit, and people are meeting with PE firms and doing all these kind of raises and stuff. So that's been interesting. I always go because there's always crazy, interesting things that are coming out that like I'm like, damn, I should have probably invested in that. At the time, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
man, it's interesting to see who's in there. It's a just absolutely hodgepodge of hockey players, basketball
Yeah.
players, football players, baseball players, retired, new, old. Like it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting, being down here in South Florida. We have Art Basel coming up, and I didn't realize, like, I know it was always like just this, one of the like major world art events. But I was surprised. I was talking to somebody recently, like, oh, it's become a real big thing for athletes too. You see a lot of these different athlete groups and investors and all that coming together. But I guess that's kind of the worlds that you see now too with entertainment. It's just everybody kind of collaborating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you collaborate, it obviously brings star power um, to that product or to that thing. And I think people want that. Having one star is is okay, depending on how big that star is. Having three, four, five, six is almost foolproof nowadays. I don't see a lot of losses when you have that a larger amount of stars coming together and working just because of their networks, who's backing each one of them, and where that money is coming from.
So let's switch gears and talk. We talked a little bit about it already, but like alumni engagement. So you mentioned going back to the school. Um, was Arizona, or do they today bring back athletes, and not just maybe within that same sport, but maybe across, just to work with the different current athletes, or some of the alumni athletes?
For sure. I think Arizona is always asking their athletes to come back. We are an athlete driven school. We have a really good Greek system, but
Okay.
sports runs the school, right? It's literally softball team's been great since beginning of time. We talked a little bit about swimming. It's been great. Football team is getting better every single year. Basketball's been elite. I would consider it a basketball school. So, but when you look at who comes back, everyone comes back.
Right.
Everyone comes back. And I think bringing that type of camaraderie, especially for the people who have graduated, the alumni, really helps because then you're connected to people. I went back and I didn't know that somebody that was a swimmer when I was there is now the head coach of the swimming team.
Okay.
So it's like, holy crap, there we go. Or like guys that I played basketball with are assistant coaches on the basketball team. So even as little as that connection is, meaning like the space between it, it also helps because if I'm like, hey, I have a kid for you, like recruiting, like
Right.
there's a kid out here in Oregon who's 6'11", who could do all this. Now I'm connecting myself. Now we're connecting the dots to just make Arizona better.
Yeah, that's great, and I think more schools should do that. And just I think the alumni engagement. I always talk about, like, I was on a call with, I went to University of Delaware, and I was on with one of the Hall of Fame football players from there who played about 10 years in the NFL. We asked them, like, get us involved, and they're just kind of like, they just didn't have the bandwidth. Not that they didn't want to do it, but they just weren't
Right.
reaching out. And I mean, it's a two-way street. Obviously, the athlete needs, wants to come back as well. But yeah, here this Hall of Fame football player is like, hey, tap me in. I want to come back, and just not really paying attention to it. But I know every school is different. And I mean, like you said, I guess it's all relative to how important sports are, like it is at Arizona.
Dude, they are psycho about their sports, all sports. And I mean, listen, our softball team has sold out the last, I think, almost 30 years. So
Wow.
it's like it's not just men's sports, it's women's sports also. Um, we've had success at every single sport. So bringing those other athletes back actually brings casts a wider net for people who are in that community who went there during that time because they've seen success on all the different sports.
Okay. How From a MBA perspective, I mean, do they do a lot in the alumni space? I mean, I know the different leagues have things, but
I've,
what's
s- I've seen a lot happen over the last 5 or 6 years. Um, I think for me, I've been really blessed to play at some special places. Sorry. And then I think teams are always, regardless of what happens, it's more on the player than the alumni. So like obviously I'm in Phoenix, I'm wearing Phoenix gear. Their alumni association is great. Portland playing for the Blazers is great. Cleveland is not. I mean, obviously we want to chip there, so that's special to me. But I've been invited by the Knicks. I've been invited by Orlando. Other teams I played for. I just, again, I didn't feel as much as a pull to go there,
right?
right? It's just the truth. But I feel like other guys that I played with are truly taking advantage of that. Like Jamal Crawford loves going back to New York, has helped with the Knicks. I just feel like I wouldn't be authentic if I went to every single team that I was. But those three places, man, the Alumni Association is amazing. Um, they reach out, and anything we'd ever need, they would be available to help us, whether that's connections, whether that's tickets, whether that's gear, whether that's, again, using their gym, doing events, activations. It's been awesome from all three of those places.
So it's more team specific versus league specific when it comes to alumni.
Yeah, I think if you have a good, outstanding relationship with the team while you were there, they would love for you to come back because,
Right.
again, it's you're engaging the fan.
Sure.
you know and for them, the more consistently you engage that fan, the more hardcore that fan becomes. It's like, how do you get the fan to appreciate the products you have on the floor now is by bringing in something that they understand and loved, and then that person goes, this guy is good, or watch for this, or it's just another part of the experience.
Okay. So I always ask these questions. They're not hard and no trick
Yeah.
questions, but going back, if you could kind of a little back to the future action, if you can go back in time, what advice, 10 words or less, would you give to freshman Channing in Arizona?
No matter what, you can do more.
That's good. I love it when I ask that question. Like it gets counted out because some people are like, man, that's really hard. And then some people like they'll do it, but then they'll go on for like the next 10 minutes,
Yeah,
which
oh
is
yeah,
fine
no,
too.
no. No matter what, you could always do more. It's like, for me, it's really about, could I have studied more? For sure. Could I have dribbled the ball more and practiced that? For sure. Could I have got more shots up? For sure. So I'm telling the freshman, Channing, yes, you're working hard. Yes, you're doing more than you've ever done. You can do more. And it's only going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, that's good. And then did you like how long were you there? Did you go through senior
I
year or
went all
junior?
4 years.
Okay, good. So that what advice would you give the senior Channing?
Wow, that's a better question. Freshman Channing was kind of green behind the ears. Senior Channing was like, holy shit, I got drafted eighth, so it's not much. What I would tell Channing going into the NBA, watch more film.
Okay.
I would have told
Yeah.
myself, watch more film, be more of a student of the game because of how the game had changed. It had started to progress from, old school, late 90s basketball. It was kind of the end in '05 to this floor spacing big, which I was 4 years later. But I wish I would have known that earlier and watched film and learned how to space the floor. But hey, we're here now.
That's right. Yes, what I've gotten a lot of lately, which is pretty good too, is just kind of more like enjoy the moment. Like, because I think a lot of people just you're
Yeah.
so focused on your sport as you should be, and you had a lot of great success. But like people think back, man, I wish I really would have enjoyed that last year. I would have done
I'm gonna
more
tell you
stuff.
this. I enjoyed every last second I was at U of A. I think I even I took the last month. So we once we lost in the end of March, I said, okay, from March 30th to April 30th, I'm just gonna be a student on campus and enjoy it. And man, every day we're going to Applebee's. I was going to class, eating riblet baskets. Obviously, I'm working out, but I said I just want to see what it's like to be a real student
Yeah,
every day. And I was like, this is lovely. No 6 a.m. workout, no nothing, you know, cushy workouts where I was in between classes. And then I left to go do training to go to the combine. So it worked out.
So let's talk about the transition. I guess so. We'll talk about first your transition from playing college ball to playing professional.
It was awful. It was awful. We went from the stability of college with one coach over 4 years, the stability of a system insulated in a small town of Tucson, to going to New York with the dysfunction of the NBA. We had the highest payroll in the NBA, but we we're the worst team. Figuring out what my role on the team was, how I could win, but then understanding, realizing that at times in the NBA, if your coach, GM, owner are not on the same page, nothing you do can do anything. The stability of the team was we had the most starting lineups in the history of the NBA. This is in '05. So nobody knew who was going to start, who was going to play. Um, I really didn't do a good job of locking in. I kind of rebelled as a player. It was kind of immature of me at the time. But again, I was like, well, listen, if you're not going to give me stability, I'm going to enjoy this and go along with the ride because
Yeah.
nothing I do is going to do anything anyways. I should have locked in, but then I got traded to a year later, moved positions, traded to Portland, and that's where that stability came in. Learned how to win, learned how to be a pro from some really great vets. Um, just really enjoyed my time with the players. The coach and I just didn't see eye to eye about who I was moving forward. And then I ended up going to Phoenix where I locked in. I learned how to win. Like losing is easy. It is very, very easy to be a loser in the NBA because of how many games it is. It's hard to win night in and night out because of the sacrifices you have to make with your family, with your friends, with your diet, with your mind. And so I learned that in Portland. And again, I love Portland. I live in Portland now. I met my wife there, matured, and then I got an opportunity to be the right version of myself in Phoenix, and it flourished. And I became who I was supposed to become. I'll go floor spacing big. Really love the city. Obviously, I'm from here. Wife is happy, kids on the way. Here is where I learned really there's levels to winning. And then when you're around Grant Hill and Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Jason Richardson, those guys are pros and all stars, perennial all stars, and Hall of Famers. And that's where I learned like there's levels to this. And I just took that to the Orlando Magic. The money was good, and Phoenix decided to go in a different direction. That was a young team. There was a lot of turmoil, and I was just like, guys, this is 33 at the time. I'm the oldest guy on the team, which was crazy. But tried to stay professional, tried to help them out. The team was talented, good group of kids, just their kids. Uh, and then ended up getting traded to Cleveland, and that's where we won a chip. That's where like learning how to be a pro came in handy because the minute I went to Cleveland, they were like, "Listen, we're here to win a championship, or this is a bad year. We're not here to just make the playoffs." So that was pretty much my whole career in a nutshell. It's long but quick. There we go.
You did a great job of condensing it.
Yeah,
So
very
now
condensed.
let's talk about when you transitioned out of playing basketball. So you played your whole life, and I'm sure you still play a little bit, but just you're done with it, on to the next phase of your life. Talk a little about that.
That's hard. And I am only saying this because I don't know another analogy. This is far below um, being a soldier, but a soldier's life is predetermined, right, by someone else. So it's predetermined by a schedule. So you're going to wake up at this time. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, or you have to prepare for this in a week, or you have to prepare for that in a week. Think about basketball. You get your schedule. I'm looking at the schedule of my wife and family, going, okay, I got one day here in 3 weeks where we can go out to dinner, or I got one day here where I can pick the kids up from school. So most parents are like they communicate what's going to happen day by day. When I wake up at 8 something in the morning because practice is at 11, I already know it's going to take me 32 minutes to get to the arena. It's going to
Yeah.
take me 15 minutes to get my thing done. Everything is in a slot, right? I shoot X amount of shots. I don't shoot no more. I don't shoot no less, unless I'm feeling a certain way. I work on this. I lift on this day because of this. Like everything is predetermined. When you get done with basketball, you have so many options, your brain almost melts. I have never had that many options to do nothing. And for instance, like today, I have been scheduling things for everyone all week. And I was like, yesterday and today, I go, I don't want to schedule nothing. And it feels good now after 6, 7 years that I could do that, because in the
Right.
past, I wouldn't be able to do that mentally. So, yes, I keep myself busy.
Right.
Um, but it's the stuff that I want to do. It's stuff that I enjoy. It's stuff that like feeds not only my mind but my soul and my heart. But man, being around my family this much has been great. But it's taken me 6 years in therapy to get used
Yeah.
to these decisions and things. Now, a lot of guys don't have that opportunity. Is why you see guys kind of go crazy when they go.
Yeah.
I would say crazy. They go. They're unraveling
Right.
because they're like, what do I do? Because I have too many options to do everything.
So what? So give a couple words of advice to really athletes across all sports. When their times come to an end, like give them some advice on their transition out.
So I would say for yourself, get a therapist, because you're going to go through a lot of things that you push to the side during your playing time. And you are reinventing yourself. You're not that person anymore, which is a gift. A lot of people don't get that opportunity to retire when they're LeBron's 41 and he's the oldest dude in the league. But like 40s, you're retired at 40s, right? At the latest. And your whole life is ahead of you. That's a gift that is daunting, but there's a way to approach it. A therapist can help you. One, two, find out what you enjoy outside of basketball. Try everything once. You know, have you ever been, skiing or seeing a ski slope? I'm not saying try that, but I'm saying go up there and see it.
Yeah.
If do you like, have you ever, for instance, you want to get into real estate? Go follow the biggest real estate. He'll let you follow them.
Yeah.
Go connect with them. Find out what motors you to get up in the morning. And then thirdly, if you have a family, set time for yourself and then set time for the family. Because what's going to happen is they're going to just engulf you because they love you, but then
Sure.
you're going to feel resentment that you don't work out as much or you don't do this as much. Take care of yourself first so that you love you first so that you can love them.
Wow. That's a lot. I always call them the nuggets. Great nuggets there. So appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk real quick about your podcast. Talk a little road
Yeah.
trip.
So we started that. Richard Jefferson and Allie Clifton, they were with me on the Cavs. I've known Richard since I was 14. He wanted to get reps because he knew he wanted to be at ESPN, which where he's at now. He wanted to know that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life after basketball. So he calls me. I'm in my room. He's like, "Hey, Channing, we're going to start a podcast. We need you to be our guest." So I kept telling him no. And then he finally said, "Hey, I'll give you a bottle of wine." I was like, "All right, done." So I go up there and it's us three. And then Kyrie Irving comes in. So then I went from being a guest to being one of the hosts. So it was now Allie, Richard, and I. So we were the first podcast 9 years ago to interview players during the season and
Okay.
put that out. It's some crazy interviews. We have interviews with Tim Duncan, obviously LeBron, Kyrie, Tristan, Derrick Rose, Kyle Korver. And what we want to do is just we wanted to give people an inside look at what was happening in Cleveland on this rock star team. And then once we transitioned out of that team, it became our point of view on the league where it's at. And if you look, Allie works for Spectrum Network and now Amazon. Richard works for ESPN. He's done the NBA Finals. I worked at NBA TV, did the NBA Finals for NBA TV, and going to probably go to ESPN probably next year. And then Kendrick Perkins is obviously Kendrick Perkins, big name and face at ESPN. So there's no other podcast that has that type of pedigree when it comes to two or three people that work for national networks.
Right.
And so for us, it's been awesome to grow as a team because when you get on TV, you get 3 seconds to kind of give your opinion. When
Right.
you're on the road tripping show, we want to hear your real opinion.
Yeah.
We
That's
we
great.
want the real story.
And you focus all on just NBA players, or you
We used to
interview other
do
people?
no. We'll have some other players on, but again, our listeners are mainly basketball fans. But
Okay.
we've had comedians on, we've had NFL players, baseball players, actors. Um, but we want to always bring it back to basketball, whether they played that, whether they love it, do they have a favorite team? We feel like basketball right now is the biggest sport when it comes to drama and action and adventure and the ups and downs of the season.
Okay, that's great. Now we're gonna switch gears to Chosen Family Wines. Talk
Yeah.
about that. Tell us how it got started and what you're doing today.
Long story short, Chosen Family One, everyone asks me where that name comes from. When I was on the Cavs, during that 2016 season, that summer, my mom died right before Halloween. Then my dad died on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So that was a really tough time for me. Thank you. And I'm very bubbly and outgoing. And even through the allergies, you could kind of feel the energy here. I was the opposite of this, sitting in my room, playing video games in the dark, just kind of like crying, wondering why I'm even still playing basketball. And my teammates recognized that and they got me outside the room. They know I love wine, that I love restaurants, I love being around people. Um, and so they became my chosen family,
that's good.
really kind of building me up. And so when I left basketball, I kind of was lost. And my wife was like, write down things that you want to do and who you want to do them with and what's your legacy outside of basketball. She's like, Channing, you have so many ideas and you have so much energy that you need to direct it towards something, right? You
Right.
can't just sit still. You're a top that's spinning, right? Um, so I said, man, I feel like there is no better connector of people who don't know each other than wine. Whether you drink it or not, we could talk about the label. We could talk about where
Right.
it's from, the history, the process. We could talk about these things. And even though me and you don't know each other, we can connect on
Yeah.
some level for something with this. So Kevin Love and I decided to create Chosen Family Wines. Um, we have been building this thing for 6, 7 years now. Finally, have the infrastructure with our great team to open up new states. So we're in Arizona, we're in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and Oregon. We've been growing it. Wine is hard. Wine is very, very hard business. We want to do it right, but if you're patient, if you're not trying to make money quickly, if you're trying to make money consistently, you have to have patience
Right.
and you got to have the right team and you got to have the right energy for it. And it's an everyday thing. And so I've learned that over these 5 or 6 years, and it's making me love it, love this business and industry even more.
Okay, that's great. And what is it? So it's all retail, and or I guess obviously it could be in other. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, so we
hotels.
do. So in our vision, we do have a membership. Go to chosenfamilywines.com. Those wines that you get on your membership, you may not see as much in stores. And then in the stores, we have our flagship wines, which we call our white and black label, our regular Willamette Valley, Pinot Chard, Rosé, and then our reserve. Then we do DTC events, dinners, happy hours. We've even gone to tailgates. We want to meet the people where they're at, or meet them halfway. I think that's the only way to get rid of that stigma of wine is only supposed to be drink with your pinky out. It's supposed to be enjoyed with your friends and family. It's supposed to be, uh, you're supposed to like sip it and think, damn, I'm like really appreciative to have these people in my life.
Yeah,
And I think for us, it's been working. We're doing better each and every year, and just fighting through.
that's great. And that it's grown. I mean, it's produced and grown out in Oregon.
Yep, 99% of our wine is out of the Willamette Valley. In Oregon, our main two wines are going to be Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So those are the two ones that we feel like are absolutely amazing and inspiring to us. But we also like other things, and we have Syrah, Cabernet, Sonoma Coast Pinot, Rosé bubbles that are smaller in allotments, that really are exciting when people come to dinners and activations.
Okay, all right. Well, we got to get you in Florida.
Yeah, we were. Then Kevin got traded to Utah, so we were really close to being in Miami and Florida. And yeah, well, we ship out there. Don't worry about that.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. So, how can people find you?
You go to Channing Frye on Instagram, X. Um, you can also go to chosenfamilywines.com. Find me there. You can go to Chosen Family Wines on Instagram. Excuse me. And then road tripping on Instagram also. So yeah, those 3, 4 things. That's where you're gonna find me.
Well, that's cool. Everybody's got to definitely reach out to Channing. Great
Please do.
guy. Sounds like a lot of fun. And for us, you can find us at alumnidirect.com on our YouTube channel, Athletes, Entrepreneurs, Alumni Journey. We're across all the different podcast networks. And each week, again, I mentioned before the kind of the nuggets. It's great where we get to talk to a lot of these athletes and just really get a feel for what we can do to help a lot of these athletes that are struggling. I mean, you hear a lot of sad stories right now going on, and we want to make an impact. Channing, again, appreciate the time today.
No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.